Good morning, gentlemen. Hope you guys are doing good. Sven, hello. Daniel Berry, hope you guys are doing well. Just kind of getting situated for this morning. Probably play a song real quick. Then we'll get started. There was the earthquake in Venezuela. And then pretty much just more on the Charlie Kirk investigation. The real investigation, which is what all of us are doing, and then the fake investigation, which is what the federal government and the judicial system are doing. You know, we're going with reality. They're going with fantasy, with the 30-06 narrative. So we'll look at that. We need a little gimme shelter, I think. Where's Tommy and THEENDU at?
Wait and see.
Love that song. That song's like a cup of coffee in the morning. The Give Me Shelter. Love that movie. Love that song. 11:30 where you're at, Sven. It's 2:30 where I'm at. So I've probably done the math on this a million times. But what is that? That's probably 9 hours, give or take. I think we're 9 hours apart. You're 9 hours ahead of us. It's interesting how the time zones work. I don't know if you guys have multiple time zones where you're at. If, because you're in the UK, right? I don't know if that's, do they have more than one time zone in the UK? Sweet Tea, good morning. Complaints commencing, yes. Because I know China only has one time zone. And we have like 3 or 4. We've got Pacific, Central, Mountain, or I think we got Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern over here. And then I know Arizona, they stay on one time all year. They don't do the daylight savings, the 1 hour. So like half the year where my buddy's at, it's the same time, and the other half of the year he's an hour ahead of us, I believe. But even right now, it's the same time as it is in Arizona, and it's like it was 112 where he was at yesterday. But it gets dark so much earlier in the desert down there than it does here. Like we're FaceTiming, and it's like almost pitch black where he's at, and the sun is still way out where I'm at. That's what I love about the Pacific Northwest. Daylight. When it's not raining, which is a lot of time. How you doing, Sweet Tea? How's what do you call it when you're in the summer? Is it vacation? Summer vacation? Yeah, I guess it's summer vacation for teachers. How does that work out? Well, you work anyways. I mean, you're always working. But for the normal teacher that just teaches, I wonder how that works out for them. They probably have to get a second job in this environment, I would imagine. Oh, but yeah, no, there was a huge earthquake in Venezuela yesterday. And there was actually 2 of them. You might as well say there was 2 of them because there was a foreshock that was a 7.2 magnitude. And then another one came a little bit later at 7.5. And they're calling that the main one. So a 7.2 for a foreshock, that's huge in itself. I don't think we've had a 7.2 over here. Maybe San Francisco was. But I don't think I know I've experienced a couple earthquakes in Washington, but I don't think no 7.2. Most have a second job, especially in the summer. 32 people confirmed dead, about 700 people injured. Buildings were destroyed. Dozens to hundreds of structures damaged or destroyed. The main airport, Simon Bolivar International Airport, suffered severe damage and was closed. Metro and alt rail services were suspended. Local officials reported complete collapses of multiple buildings in several districts. It was only 8 miles deep, which makes a 7.5 even stronger, more damage. It was actually close to the city of Caracas, Venezuela. And it says many structures in Venezuela are old masonry buildings that are vulnerable to earthquakes. And the earth, I was just going to make my government joke because it probably was a faction of the government that caused this, but we'll just go with mainstream science. The earthquake was caused by movement along the faults where the Caribbean plate and the South American plate interact. Northern Venezuela sits on a major tectonic boundary. Stress builds up as these plates move relative to each other, and when the stress exceeds the strength of the rocks, the fault suddenly slips, releasing energy as an earthquake. More than 20 aftershocks were reported shortly after the main quake. A tsunami warning was briefly issued and then canceled. The USGS issued its highest level warning, stating that high casualties and extensive damage were probable. It was felt beyond Venezuela and neighboring countries. But yeah, pretty wild. It just, that really sends chills up my spines because where I live at, that's where the big one's coming, and it's already overdue. And if it's hard to believe the stories of what happened during the last one. Was like in 17 something, how a wave of water from the Pacific Ocean, I think about 600 miles off of the coast of Washington, traveled all the way to Japan and went over the islands of Okinawa. I think it was actually a 600-foot wall of water. I don't know exactly where it originated off, but it's the Cascadia Plate and the Juan de Fuca Plate. And they call it the subduction zone. I think I'm going to play the thing. Hold on, let me read the chat. We don't get suntan over here. We get rusty. That's funny. Yeah, where you guys are at, you guys just get the weather over there, huh, Sven? That's why Scotch comes. It's created. Scotch is, it's like all the regions and the weather has a lot to do with it. The peat moss and the brine and all this kind of stuff. Don't want to hear. Let's see here. Possibility I'm flying out to Cali and driving back with my niece. She is finished with school and got a job on South Carolina Georgia border. Don't want her driving that distance alone. And since I am on a break, I offer to fly out and drive back with her. That's awesome. And driving back with my niece. So you're going to go all the way across the country? She's finished with school and got a job on the South Carolina Georgia border. Damn. That's a drive and a half. I took a bus, a Greyhound bus when I was 5 with my mom to New York. And it was like 3 days and 4 nights. I don't really remember too much of the trip, but I do remember a little bit of it. That is a long drive. I attempted to drive across the country one time from here to Florida. in 2020 because my daughter was moving to Florida, and we made it to Vegas. And I kind of knew in the back of my head that that's where I was going to end up. You know, I didn't know how it was all going to work out, but it was so hot when we got to Vegas. And I think my daughter was just over, it's kind of a shock when you start driving. You don't realize how far, So we made it to Vegas, and then we had a truck come and pick up her car, and then she flew to Florida. But we stayed in Vegas for like 4 days. Her friend flew down there, and we just hung out in Vegas that was a lot of fun. Yeah, you are the best auntie ever. That's awesome for you doing that. She took 5 days on the way out. It's about 4,500 miles. She took 5 days on the way out. Oh, when she drove out there. So she drove out there by herself? That's going to be a fun drive. Hold on a sec. Let me look at something here. So let's just say we are going from Yeah, it's far when Google takes that long. $4,500 miles. Wow. So you go through like Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, like that type of route? Northern part of Texas. It's like you might go through a little bit of Missouri. No, Mississippi. That'll be fun. Oh, you're going LA to Augusta, Georgia. Her father drove out with her so I wouldn't be alone, and he flew back. So it's 2,300 miles is what you're looking at. And you're going to go through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Or there's another way where you just go through Arizona, New Mexico, all the way through Texas, which I don't recommend if you smoke pot. All the way through the northern part of Louisiana, Mississippi, out. Oof. Yeah, that's not a weed-friendly drive right there. Neither way is. That's why I've never really taken that trip voluntarily. And that's honestly, I forgot about that. That's kind of why I didn't want to drive the rest of the way because it's, the plan was there was no more weed with us after that. Hold on, what is this? One second here, guys. That'd be cool, though. I love road trips. I told my buddies, like, we got to go on a road trip, dude. Because we had so much fun. Don't need weed, friendly, where you're going. Yeah, it's not normally a consideration for most. For me, it's always a consideration. Now it's not a big deal to take it to Vegas because you can get weed down there. There's other ways of. I messed up the last time I went because, it was when I went to Arizona to go see my buddy Brian. I did my old trick of putting it in peanut butter, and I haven't done that for years and years. But they changed the law to where you can only carry a certain size of whatever peanut butter or whatever. There's certain things that you can only have, and it was too big. And he's like, well, if it's for and I didn't tell him there was any weed in there, but he probably assumed there was. He goes, if you need it for like any, type of medical, he's like, I'll give it back to you. You can go put it in a smaller container. And I'm like, no, it's cool. I was like, you can keep it though, if you want, wink, wink. But he's like, I can't. So he just threw it away. And there was like $80 worth of weed in there or something like that. It happens. I have so many weed stories and being, just like nervous, carrying it on a plane. I mean, even when I was like 18, I was either 18 or 19. I think I was only 18. Me and my buddy went down to Santa Cruz. We flew into San Francisco. And I used my parents' trick of putting the weed into a film canister for a 35 millimeter camera. This was like 1991, maybe 92. I think it's 91, 92, 92. So it was a 35 millimeter camera in the little black canisters with the gray caps. That's what the weed was in. We put it in there, and then, I'm holding the camera. And the people in front of us have a camera too. And the dude pops open their film canisters and looks inside of it. So I thought, oh shit, we're busted. And my buddy just grabbed the film canisters and put them in his pocket real quick. And we got away with it. I just have so and that was when I was fucking 18 or 19 years old. It will be fun. I lived in New Jersey most of her life. I lived in New Jersey most of her life, and she in Rhode Island. So I used to see her a lot more. So it'd be cool to spend time with her. The peanut butter works because it doesn't show up, so well on a camera, and a dog can't smell it. Because what you do is you can just take your fingers if you want, and you just shove. You carve out a hole in the middle of the peanut butter, and then I would just double wrap my weed in a plastic baggie and shove it in there, and then just smooth it back over. I would even keep the foil on there. I would just peel it back a little bit, to make it look like it was pretty much a brand new jar of peanut butter. And then I'll just throw some crackers in there in my suitcase. And, because you're allowed to one walk on or whatever, it works perfectly. But so the last time that I went, I researched what is legal to bring, because I wanted, because in Arizona, weed is legal, but the weed sucks down there. They have one store where my buddy's at. And he's a degenerate. He don't give a fuck. I'm a weed snob. I can't live on shitty weed. I have my 10s unit plugged in, and I forgot I had it on, and it was disconnected, and I shifted my butt on my chair, and it shocked the fucking shit out of me. And now I got these guys texting already on the text line. Let me see what we got going on here. Yeah, so that anyway, I forgot what I was saying. The peanut butter. Oh, in Florida, or when I went to Arizona, you can bring a dab rig for concentrates. You know, people will do the dabs. You can bring the whole glass thing, which I did. I brought everything. The only thing you can't bring is the little. They come with a little metal poker that you use to collect your little sticky concentrate when you're getting ready to smoke it. It's a whole fucking operation. You need a blowtorch. I don't do dabs. I just smoke flower. But I was going to bring that down there. And so when I get to the airport, they opened up my suitcase, and I already knew what they were going to do. They went straight for the dab rig. He's like, sorry, I got to do something real quick. I go, I already know you're looking for the metal poker, right? I go, it's not in there. I took it out. Of course he looked anyways. I go, I looked online at all the rules just so I made sure I was good. He goes, cool. He goes, yep, good job doing your homework. He goes, yeah. He goes, yep, you can't take those things on a plane. You know, it's a weapon or some bullshit. And the x-ray doesn't pick up the peanut butter having something inside of it? No, because it's so thick that, and I got away with it so many times, you know. Let me ask ChatGPT. Many times I flew to Vegas with marijuana inside of a peanut butter jar. I would just shove the weed double bagged in plastic inside the peanut butter. Can an x-ray machine pick up that? And can it pick up weed inside of peanut butter? And can a dog smell the weed through the peanut butter? Maybe I was just fucking. Let's see. Does it even want to answer my question? Stop answering. Will marijuana be picked up by an x-ray machine if you shove it inside of a peanut butter jar and conceal it? And can a police dog smell the weed through peanut butter? It doesn't want to answer. It's doing some weird. Maybe one of you guys can ask ChatGPT. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my machine off. One time I was in Vegas and a bunch of us, Dab, you lost me. You don't know Dab? Oh, Sweetie, that was a long time ago. That was, you're talking like back in the 90s. Now everything's legal. Like when you go to Vegas, they have weed in Vegas. In fact, the world's largest weed store was in Vegas, or is in Vegas, Planet 13, or whatever it is. But back then, that it was a huge deal because, you could only get weed. There were no stores anywhere. You know what I mean? It was like either you brought it or you just weren't going to have it with you. You know what I mean? And especially back in my 20s, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. You never heard of a dab? Here, I'll show you what a dab is. We can do without the dramatic music. What are these creepy guys doing? I think it's so creepy when guys do that. Let me get in front of the camera. This is Justin Gaethje.
Out of a $60,000 glass starship. Here we have just.
That's the guy who won the main event at the UFC White House, Justin Gaethje, last week or whatever. I went to Vegas in 2018. Our Uber driver gave us her personal number, and she said she would pick us up and later bring us to a dispensary if we wanted to. That's funny. Well, back in the 90s, me and my buddy Jason were in Vegas, and a cab driver picked us up. And I go, hey, man, I just have a question for you. Do you know where we can get any chronic? And he goes, any what? I go, any weed? It was in the middle of the daytime. And he goes, well, we can go back by Naked City and see if anybody's got anything back there. And this is like 1994, which is behind the Stratosphere. I don't even know if the Stratosphere was there in 94, to be honest with you. It may not have been. And I mean, I never heard of Naked City. And my buddy Jay is a black dude. We work at a bingo hall together. And as soon as he goes back to this Naked City, I didn't like the name of it. And I'm like, oh my God, fuck no. I was like, this is not. I was like, never mind, dude. I was like, it's not worth it back here. I was like, it'll just look dangerous. And he goes, well, there's a white dude. He goes, I have some at my house. He goes, I don't sell it. He goes, but I'll give it to you if you want. So, and so that's what we did. And we hooked him up. It was $25. And remember, this is 94. So I think it was $25 for the cab ride. We gave him $50. And he gave us a decent sized sack of weed. It was pretty big, actually, but it was just straight Mexican dirt weed. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, but it was better than nothing when you don't have anything. He said, we can go back to my place. Yes, like Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Well, my buddy and I could have taken him, no problem. You know what I mean? And it was in the middle of the day. And we waited outside. He just went upstairs real quick. We just waited out in his cab. So, yeah, highly don't recommend doing shit like that, especially in Vegas, for sure. You never know what's going to happen in Vegas. Reno, too, for that matter. Like I said, I've been to Reno 3 times. And I've been to Vegas probably about 12 times. So, been there for my share. But I haven't been in a while. It's been 6 years. Too damn expensive. It's not the same anymore. It's too expensive now. The food's expensive. Everything's expensive. But anyway, you're going to have a good trip. I don't know how. Your trip won't revolve around weed. I always said that if I was going to do a road trip, like if I could plan it, and it would be it would revolve around weed, amusement parks, and golf courses, and some casinos. That would be like a vacation road trip that I would like to do for me personally. I love amusement parks, like roller coasters. Although I haven't been on one for years and years and years, so I don't know if 50-year-old Jason, about to be 53, can't handle roller coasters anymore. So we have to give it a shot. But I do like them. And I love to play golf. I just don't play anymore. Each chapter is a weed incident. That's funny. Oh, yeah. Starting when I was, the first time I got in trouble legally was when I was 23. And it was a little tiny piece of weed. I mean, tiny. I don't want to tell that story. Fucking cops. There was lots of cops where I was at yesterday at the admin building. I don't know why, what they were doing. There must have been some type of something going on. Cops from like all different places. Normally they get, it's normal to have like tribal cops in and out of that building, but they had like city cops and state patrol, and I don't know what they were doing there. Not a fan. Not one sale from those. Although I did have one cop come up to me. But I was so tired yesterday. I know I must have looked like shit yesterday there because I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was just exhausted. It happens to me sometimes. Because it was so quiet in there. Cops are quiet for the most part. All right, let's get to it. Let's see what we got. Are you going to make any, do you have any destination stops? Do they smoke weed on the reservations? Yes. Well, depends which reservation. Like if you go to La Push over on the Pacific Ocean, Nia Bay, it's a dry community out there. There's not supposed to be any weed or alcohol or anything out there. It's like a sacred grounds type of thing. Then there's a story about the Snoqualmie Casino and the Snoqualmie tribe, which is up by the mountains. Me and my ex-girlfriend and her mom drove out there, and it's quite a drive to get out there. Only after to be there for only about half hour. I was like, hey, I'll be back. I'm gonna go outside and smoke some pot. So I go outside and smoke it. I had a joint with me, and I'm smoking a joint, and I already put it out. And I'm getting ready to go back in the building, and I see a security guard, and I go, hey, how's it going? He goes, good, how you doing? I go, I'm good. I just got done smoking some weed, about to go back in and hopefully win some money. He goes, oh, you were smoking pot? He goes, I'm sorry, I got to kick you out. I'm like, what? I thought he was joking. He's like, no, I have to kick you. He goes, it's an automatic ban off our premises if we find somebody smoking marijuana. I'm like, what? And they have a pot shop that's just right around the corner from there. I'm like, you guys sell weed, right? He goes, I know, but here on the casino premises, we'll kick anybody out for smoking. I'm like, this motherfucker. So I was like, well, I ain't going nowhere unless you let me back in there, and because I told him, it's like, I didn't drive. So I was like, I ain't going nowhere until we go talk to the people I'm with. So we went back in there, and then we had to leave. It's like, sorry guys, we got to go. So there's that story. And then the next day, I was so pissed off, I put a Facebook post out. This was 2020, asking Trump to send a missile into the Snoqualmie parking lot casino. And actually, somebody pulled that post up a couple months ago and tried to start some shit. Believe it or not. I admit too much, sweet tea. Well, pot's legal now here, and it was legal then too. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with smoking pot. In Washington is different than maybe North Carolina. I don't know what the laws are over there. My mom was growing pot when I was a kid. I grew pot. Everybody I know, it's not a big deal over here. But yeah, if that's the worst I've done, you know what I mean? So you have some, yeah, but they're boring stories. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. YouTube is full of stories. Everybody has a story. Now, you want an interesting story? We could talk about exploding microphones and, 30-06 neck shots and No, you know what's funny is my granddaughter. She'll, she's so funny because she's like, "Well, tell me about it," and she's not satisfied with some like brush over, version. She wants to know all the details about everything. Well, then what happened? Well, tell me about it. Who was that person? Well, tell me about them. She just goes on and on and on. I love it. It's too funny. I told her I was going to get her a gift card for Spirit Halloween. She's just obsessed with Spirit Halloween. Just as my youngest, all my kids loved Halloween, still do. I loved Halloween. My mom was obsessed with Halloween. My storage unit's filled with Halloween shit. And my granddaughter is no exception. I don't know what it is. Just comes out of the womb loving Halloween. So they're hilarious stories. You didn't hijack the conversation. Not really a whole lot on there other than the earthquake in Venezuela. Alexis Wilkins singing the national anthem. She claims she's this like country singer. It's so obvious that, the thing about those people from the Zionists, whether they're from Israel or whatever, where they claim they're from, they have zero talent. They're good at screwing people out of their money and, raping kids and stuff like that. But they suck. I mean, Laura Trump is one of the, that duck-lipped. She is such a horrible singer. It's not even funny. And then Alexis Wilkins singing the national. It's so pathetic. It's absolute. I think that they purposely killed off people like Prince and Tom Petty, and they purposely put no talent out there now so that people like Alexis and Laura Trump don't sound so bad. But even with that, they still sound horrible. I mean, any drunk karaoke singer can sing the national anthem better than her. And she is so ugly. You should write the stories down and then get high and read them on YouTube. That would be Magooch, good morning. Back in like 2010, 2011, I was telling my mom, like, she should always tell me I should write a book. I was telling her about my theory about drone wars and how one day, you could just be sitting there and you get a knock on the door and there's a fleet of drones right there. One of them has a needle on it, pricks you in the neck, you pass out. They grab your wallet, they grab all your valuable possessions, these drones, and off they go, And even if they don't knock you out, who are you going to call? I was like, I would come up with stories like that. And I'd be like, or they would, if you leave your window open, these things are going to be able to cut your screen and fly in. And I would show her videos on YouTube of how they could synchronize. This is, 16 years ago. My mom died in 2017. So she's like, you should write a book. No talent out there now. That's why we listen to our music. Yes, 100%. How you doing, Magooch? That's why we listen to our music. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we can listen to her real quick. Let's see here. Lionel Richie's having problems too. Lionel Richie is a perfect example. Matter of fact, let's go back here for a second. It's always the energy drink commercials, man. They push that stuff like it's fucking some damn cocaine. I mean, it's crazy how many people drink those stupid energy drinks.
my friends, the time has come. Raise the roof and have some fun. Throw away the work to be done. Let the music play on, play on, play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. All night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long, all night, all night long. Yeah, once you get started, you can't sit down. Come join the fun, it's a miracle.
And you know, I've always liked Lionel Richie, and I don't know the whole story, what happened. I believe he was just killed off and then cloned. I don't know who the fuck that is now, who that person is now that's out there. But you know, when I hear that song and you watch that video, to me, I like everybody in that video looks like they have more talent than I do when it comes to singing and dancing, the whole thing. You know what I mean? They've obviously practiced. That thing's choreographed. You know, it's a show. It's a production. They actually put effort into that. You know what I mean? The way the whole stage, the way they built the stage, the colors, everything. To the same guy, you can't. You know, hold on. Fast forward to 2026, and I know we all get older. But that's not, it's more than that. They have sucked the life out of performances.
When my friend came out of the neighborhood, I said, you can start the couple rules. Yeah, when it's like everybody, it's everyone. You say,
And apparently he had problems where Lionel Richie concert in St. Paul at the Grand Casino Arena canceled mid-show. Richie sat down on stage during Dancing on a Ceiling, said he felt dizzy, performed one more song at piano, 3 Times a Lady, then announced unplanned intermission, and he did not return. But with that said, and you know, he had an off day and he's sick, and hopefully he feels better, whoever that is, because I don't really believe that's Lionel Richie. Get rid of the fucking Darth Vader, fucking the Star Wars strobe lights, the Turning Point USA fucking production, and just sing. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. I need to look up. Never mind. I'm not. Fuck you, Chat GPT. I need to know the story of what happened to him. So I'm pretty sure I heard him say that he literally just woke up one day and he couldn't sing anymore. That something was wrong with his voice. And I don't know if I buy that or not. And I don't even know if that's true. If I remember hearing that right or not. It could be all the weed. There's a video of Kenny Rogers at an award show singing "Lady," which Lionel wrote. Lionel was in the audience, and Kenny asked him to come up and sing together. Yes, that's a great one too. You want to hear that? We can go that one real quick. What kind of bullshit commercial is this? Orbit. Let me talk to you about Orbit chewing gum real quick. Okay? Since they want to advertise Orbit chewing gum. You guys know you should not be eating gum, right? I hope nobody out there chews gum. Look at the fucking ingredients in gum. You want to talk about poison? You want to talk about aspartame and asuflame potassium? Get the fuck out of here. You know what's in bubble gum? Embalming fluid. That shit turns to embalming fluid when it reaches your body temperature. You want to embalm your body from the inside out? Chew gum on a daily basis. Good God. Nobody should be chewing gum.
To-do list.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Rogers.
To say I'm excited about being a part of this is an understatement, to say the least. But, you know, Lionel, first of all, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, like your comment here. Why can't I see it, though? What is wrong with my computer today? These performers are getting old and can't perform like they used to. Yeah, and, you know, I think Kenny Rogers died probably soon after this, but it's still a great performance. So I think that a part of it is that, you know, of course they lose a step, but also if you look back in, like, you know, earlier in time, some of the greatest performances were by some older people.
You know, you deserve what you're getting here. And Lionel and I met 32 years ago, right here in Las Vegas. But, you know, come over and write us this song. And I'm sitting looking at the... Late, and your night is shining, and I love you. You have made me what I am. I am yours. My love. There's so many ways I want to say I love you. You have come into my life and made me whole. You have gone and made me such a fool, and I'm so lost in your love. We belong together.
Stop the music, DJ. Do you really chew bubblegum, Sweet Tea? Oh my gosh. Please, you got to try to quit. Bubblegum is so bad for you. That, you know, especially there's certain ones that are way like Orbit and like, you know, Wrigley and all. Oh my gosh, man. You really got to look into aspartame, which is in Diet Coke too. A lot of people that drink Diet Coke end up with back problems. A lot of people think that the reason that people like Michael J. Fox ended up with Parkinson's and all this was, you know, he was the Pepsi guy, the Diet Pepsi guy or whatever, aspartame. Freddie Mercury was awesome. His last performance, even though he looked terrible, his voice held out. You know, my favorite song by, I would have to say off the top of my head, by Lionel Richie is when he was with the Commodores, Sail On. You know, it's just, I'm just going to be honest, and I've always thought this about Lionel Richie. I'm not saying it's true, but it's just me personally. He gives me Epstein vibes, big time. Big time. Like Bill Cosby vibes, Epstein vibes, And I'm not saying he is, but there's just something about him. And it's just the way they dressed too back then. I mean, like, really, what's going on here? But I love this song. This is one of my favorite songs.
Sail on down the line about half a mile or so. Don't really want to know where you're going. Maybe once or twice, you see. Time after time I try to hold on to what we got, but now you're going. And I don't mind about the things you're gonna say, Lord. I gave all my money and my time. I know it's a shame, but I'm giving you back your name. Yeah. Guess I'll be on my way. I won't be back to stay. I guess I'll move along. I'm looking for a good time.
See, that's the part that creeps me out there. What kind of good time are you looking for? You know what I mean? With your shirt like that. But what a great song. I love that song. You know what's funny is me and my youngest would sit there and crack up. He loved this video when he was like 6 years old. We would just 5 years old. We would sit there and just bust up at the way they dressed. But yeah, it's crazy. My granddaughter and my youngest, they love they're like, what do you call that? Ancient souls. You know, I feel like they're from back in time a little bit. Which was pretty cool. What's up, THEENDU? Good morning. No, I don't. You know, I'm never trying to get people to smoke weed with me, sweet tea. I always say that I think the weed today is genetically modified. It doesn't have any medicinal purposes, and I do it just to be a degenerate. I don't claim that I'm doing it for any like godly reasons or anything like that. I just like to smoke it. That's all. You know. Lionel's hair hasn't gotten any better. Yeah. What a great song though, right? There was one other one I was going to play too. Going back to, was it Kenny Rogers? Can't remember. Anyway, love the music. But, and so here we are today in 2026. And, the thing is we don't need all that. You don't need all this fucking smoke and mirrors and fucking laser lights and shit, man. You don't need all that. I don't want to go to that. I want it to be old school, not like that. I want there to be talent. I want to enjoy the artist, not the fucking production. Certain, like there's certain people like the production is the show. Maybe Pink Floyd, Steve Aoki, people like that. But I don't know. That's just me. You need all the smoke and mirrors when your voice sucks to distract you from your sucky voice. Yes, 100%. And speaking of sucky voices, we'll just transition into.
It feels like it's been a while when the American dream was a Cadillac and the red, white, and blue showed how you act. Things you got, you worked for, you didn't think twice, got not locked in your door. When people did the right thing with no one around, They looked at each other and found common ground. From the music to the flag, I ain't living in the past. I'm just saying that it feels like it's been a while.
Oh, Alexis. What the fuck? Looking like she just stepped out of the Dark Crystal. That's Cash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, the glamorous super country superstar singer. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure I seen her in the movie The Dark Crystal in 1984 at the movie. She was like one of those little elf things that were in that movie. I mean, come on. Horrible. So this is what I'm saying. Alexis Wilkins and Laura Trump, they're just, I can't with these people. Zero talent, but that's what they push at us now. Well, it's already 3:30. Haven't even done anything yet. Venezuela earthquake.
Mierda, weón. Qué loquera, weón.
It's crazy. The damage gets worse as it gets down.
Mierda, weón. Qué locura esta mierda, weón. Acabó con el edificio.
I'm getting dizzy watching this guy. Hurry up and get down to the bottom. Good Lord. How scary would that be? Look at that shit.
Mierda, weón. Yo acabo de subir del ascensor. Acabo de entrar.
Scary stuff, man. Oh, that's her dam. That's why she gets the stage, not because she, yes. Yeah. Yeah, and we pay for them to fly around in the FBI private plane all the time, too. Which costs like, $100,000 a trip. People just drive like, people just act crazy when that kind of stuff happens. Absolutely insane. So scary. You got to be careful where you go out on vacation sometimes too. I'm not sure where that's at. It looked like Florida, maybe. So I'll just play a couple more videos that I have here. Last night, Candace Owens played news clips of some of the first live interviews from the Kirk assassination at Utah Valley. This one is happens to be from one of the news reporter's sons. So everybody in this video, including this lady right here, they're just so unbelievable. But we'll just listen to it.
Anchor was at the event where Charlie Kirk was shot and killed today. Heidi Hatch was able to speak with her son Jordan about what he experienced. Here's that interview from just a few moments ago.
My son was one of the thousands that was there today, and I just saw him for the first time just a couple of minutes ago, but I'm going to have him come over here and talk to us a little bit about what he saw. This was happening just after noon today. I was texting him just to check on his wrist because he hurt it. Being a mom, checking in to see exactly what was happening. He didn't answer me. Jordan, at some point you texted back and said, I'm hoping to ask him a question, but I didn't know who that him was. You were at this event today. Was it something that you were planning to do with friends or decided at the last second, or what happened?
So I'm just going to pause it right here. You know, you can tell when these people are paid actors. You know, they're the crisis actors. One of the telltale signs of them being a crisis actor is they give you way too much information as far as the timelines and the descriptions go. You know, that's the rehearsed part. And so when they talk, they're just trying to hit all of the different talking points, and it doesn't come out naturally, you know. And you know, that lady went into way too much detail there, and this kid is going to do the same thing. You know, they have way too much information for something that just happened, and then their delivery is arrogant and cocky. So weird, right, Sweetie? Yes. And you know, I truly believe and I've talked about this many times before, years ago, a deep state haircut. That guy has the deep state haircut. It's the way they do it in the front. You know, these younger, the younger guys that are involved in like, you know, the military, academic, industrial complex, the deep state guys like Mr. Beast and his crew. You look at their hairstyle. They're all part of it. They're all military guys. It's total. This whole thing is just a stage. You know, it's really kind of hard to come to terms with. But it's for somebody like, it's so easy for me to tell.
Yeah, I knew he was coming, so I decided a few days ago that I wanted to talk to him. I agree with him on most things, but I still think it'd be fun to debate him. I don't know, just it's a cool experience. There's millions of people watching, thousands of students there. I just thought it would be a fun experience. I got there was thousands of kids. I got in line to go actually debate him, and honestly, it was probably good I got there at 12 when it started instead of earlier, because I ended up further up in the line, and it was probably...
So further up means like you were close to the stage, or where were you at?
So there was some stairs.
The whole thing is just weird. Definitely try to sway the conversation by the way she's asking the questions. Yes. Yeah. You know, I have some more of these videos too, I think. 2 eyewitnesses claimed they saw a puff of smoke
Tell me your name.
I'm Wesley.
Wesley, tell me what you noticed.
And then I heard the shot. I looked over. I saw what I thought was smoke, and then I got out of there.
Happened, I thought someone was blowing up fireworks. I thought there were some sort of firecrackers or something. And then I saw his head go back. I saw him fall over.
Did you realize in your mind that he had been shot, or did you still think there was fireworks and he was being dramatic and fell over or something?
It took a second or two, but I heard the fireworks. I maybe even saw.
Did you guys? I'm gonna rewind it here. He says fireworks, and he does quotation with his hands.
I heard the fireworks. I maybe even saw some smoke come up from somewhere, but I saw his head go back. I saw him.
Tell me your name.
So the thing is here, for those that have been following this whole thing, is that, you know, what happened was they wanted it to be a chest shot with a 30-06. That was the game plan, and the plan got fucked up by Charlie's cross, and it hit him in the neck. The explosion hit him in the neck. That was never supposed to happen. So they had to pivot right away, and they already had a lot of interviews ready to roll, and then they couldn't use them, and a few of them just went on anyways because not everybody knew. Not everybody got the memo right after it happened. So that's why some of these interviews popped off to where, like the one we played yesterday, the girl says she's seen him shot in the chest. So this one is kind of funny. This one, I mean, not funny. This one is just kind of like don't wait to the last minute to say something to somebody.
Which makes complete sense to me.
Sure. I wish that I had stayed in better touch with him, or just stayed more available, or his orbit was a hard one to penetrate, or his ecosystem or whatever, which isn't unsurprising because when people need to be insulated to
He's talking about Matthew Perry.
Hide or protect the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
The less people getting past the velvet rope, the better.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I read his book.
Yeah.
And I read it in a day, and I started it, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do anything else until I finish this. And then I wanted to reach out to him. And then, the kids and stuff and life. And I was like, I'll call him tomorrow. I'll call him next week. But I wanted to just congratulate him and have a laugh about how I was included in his book.
Yeah.
That there's one line where he says, fuck Charlie Sheen. I'm going to be just as famous one day. He was like using me like I used Emilio and Rob and Dad and the rest of them, and I never got to reach out and first of all, thank him for that and congratulate him on the book. And then he, I think, died a month after I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a moment in my childhood. There was a coffee house in Malibu, and it sits like it was there for years, and they finally tore it down, like to get rid of everything cool, right? And I think I was 11 or 12. I had decided that Jaws was the greatest film ever made, right? And I saw it in the movie theater 100 times. Like in a movie theater, because it played in theaters for a year or longer. So anyway, in the middle of that, probably 40 showings into that, right? Dad drops me off at that diner, and I go and sit down. He says, I'll park the car and I'll join you in a minute, right? So I'm waiting for him, and a person sits down next to me, and I turn and look at him, and it's Roy Scheider.
Oh, wow.
It's Chief Brody.
Yeah.
And I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. I literally don't, there's no languages available. I'm 12,
Yeah.
And then he was there just briefly. Dad took a while with the car. They knew each other from New York. That introduction could have been like, oh, hey, by the way, it's my son, right? He leaves, Dad shows up, and I say, hey, Chief Brody was just here, right? And he says, it's too bad. I know him. I could have introduced you. So then I never got to tell him that, right? And I was always like, Jesus, if I ever saw you know, if I ever see him out in the world, then, you know,
Yeah.
I'll say, wow, as a child in this thing. But during 2.5, Holland Taylor, who played my mom, she knew him. And so she got that message to him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, before he passed, you know. But it was another one of those things. It was with Matthew that it was kind of it reminded me of the Scheider missed opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, Matthew wrote very honestly about his experience.
Yeah. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait to tell somebody something. Because you never know. You know what I mean? If you're done, you're done. But, you know, life has a way of, you know, making people regret stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? Life is short. What else do we have here? This is the creepy Terrell Farnsworth, who this guy is like definitely deep state. He's the one that filmed himself. You know, he had to get himself involved in this somehow. So he films himself going, they shot Charlie, they shot Charlie. I'll play it for a second, then I'm gonna show you something.
They just shot Charlie.
Watch that trunk. There's Frank. He's going to get in that way. Nope, Rick's going to be busy. He gets in, runs around, and opens the trunk and gets into the car. Clean. Fresh, white polo shirt. So Frank did not touch Charlie after Charlie got hit. He did not help transport Charlie into the SUV, and he entered clean through the trunk, meaning there shouldn't be any blood spill on Frank Turek, okay?
So, long story short, what we're looking at right here is Charlie Kirk's security detail. They had thrown him into this SUV like a fucking pig, like a stuck pig. And he's so tall that they can't get the door shut because his feet are hanging out. And then this guy in the white here, Frank Turek, opens up the back of the SUV and jumps in through the back. And then they rush him to the hospital.
He's going to be busy. He gets in, runs around, and opens the trunk. And
so he gets in, and that's how they take Charlie to the hospital. Now, they ended up scrubbing out, cleaning out this SUV, and they sold it. They got rid of it immediately. Everyone's clothes disappeared on this day. They said they had to throw their clothes away because they were soaked in blood. This is why Candace is harping on that. But what I picked up on this video is that these guys have no medical anything with them. You know, they don't have any medical bags or anything like this. And you can clearly see over here to the right, the paramedics. These are the first responders. They have a huge medical bag. I know that's a medical bag because I seen it in another video when they were pulling in. And they want to help, but they know that they're not supposed to get involved. This is not real life. This is just a planned execution. Look, you'll see the guys with the medical bag.
he's going to get in that way. Nope, Rick's going to be busy. He gets in.
I'm gonna mute it so I can talk over it. And he just set the medical bag down. And it's creepy Terrell Farnsworth again. Anything, you know, there was gotta be, look how big that bag is, you know. That's what's gonna save Charlie's life, right? That's what's gonna stop the bleeding is inside that bag. Not those fucking clowns. It's interesting. Very interesting. The exploding microphone theory. I mean, that's what it is.
We've actually learned some new information regarding Israel and Israeli explosive companies based on American soil. And not just on American soil, but in immediate proximity to Fort Huachuca, where Mitch Snow saw Erica Kirk and company in the days preceding Charlie Kirk's murder and where the federal government tests specialized explosive devices, anti-EMP technology, like the technology from Lori Franspay's defense contracting business.
Which, if you guys don't know, that's Erica Kirk's mom.
Or the shape charge explosives from an Israeli company called Elbit Systems of America. So kind of like the United States government they contract with, they put America in their name, but they're actually Israeli. And that doesn't stop them from actively contracting with the United States government on Fort Huachuca or from operating a research and development manufacturing facility based in Chandler, Arizona. And what are these people researching and developing? What is this Israeli corporation contracting with the United States government actually working on? Shape charge explosives. Kind of like Accurate Energetic Systems in McAllen, Tennessee. At least they used to be in McAllen, Tennessee until their facility exploded, killed all the employees that were working that day, and attracted the attention of Pete Hegseth, who diverted his flight from none other than Fort Huachuca to Washington, D.C. to fly low and slow over the destruction while it was smoldering to see it for himself. So what's Elbit Systems of America's connection to all of this? And why is an Israeli explosives company allowed to operate on American soil in the first place, let alone contract with the United States government on Fort Huachuca?
I'll tell you why, because it's the reason why everything else that's fucked up in this country is going on, because we're getting Jewed by some Jew motherfuckers. That's why.
It would be great if we really did live in the type of country where we could redress our grievances with our elected officials or government officials in general and get them to look into situations like this one and tell us what the fuck they find out.
They're a bunch of Jews. How can we?
It's actually what we were told Tulsi Gabbard was going to do on her way out of the Trump administration, having spent more than a year as Trump's director of national intelligence.
Deep state.
But instead, just like everyone else, Tulsi Gabbard has done little more than release a bunch of goy slop videos on social media.
Yep.
She expected us to, I don't know, jump up and down over information that she released on Tony Fauci and gain of function research, information that we've had for years.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about Tulsi Gabbard releasing that information about Dr. Fauci on her way out the door, right as the statute of limitations expires. So he can't be prosecuted anyway. I don't know if maybe Stu's the one I got that information from. Maybe he says that here.
Information that we have known about and talked about on this show for years. And it turns out that the timing of all of this, it's a coincidence. It just so happens to coincide with the expiration of the statute of limitations. So in other words, Tulsi Gabbard claims to be bringing the people the truth about that rat-faced demon Tony Fauci and draining the swamp and making sure that he's held accountable. But he won't be, because he can no longer be prosecuted even if someone actually wanted to prosecute him, which they don't. She's not going to tell us anything of value about Charlie Kirk or anything else for that matter. The people are going to have to do this ourselves. We are going to have to continue running this investigation ourselves, and eventually we're going to have to stop talking, and we're going to have to start physically holding these criminals that are running this country's government and killing this country's people accountable, or they will never stop.
Yep. Spot on, Stu. Spot on. Alan Dershowitz thought it was a good idea to make a public appearance.
Epstein's Island! What did you and your wife do on Epstein's Island?
Find out the lies that these people are telling.
What did you and your wife do on Epstein's Island? Do you regret going to Epstein's Island?
Don't listen to these anti-Semites.
Do you regret going to Epstein's Island? What did your wife do on Epstein's Island?
Let me get a
You
picture
have
of
a
you
lot of nerve.
so I can sue you.
Oh, whoa.
Pedophile!
Epstein's Island.
What a little bitch. You know, this claim that we hear about this dude all the time, Alan Dershowitz. That was Jeffrey Epstein's attorney, I believe. You know, he's supposed to be this big, powerful man that, you know, runs everything. And then, you know, you get a couple of fucking, I don't even know if you call those people social media influencers or what. It's just the public, ordinary people. And he crumbles like a little bitch. He has to pull out his phone. I'm going to record you. Let me sue you. What a little bitch. You know, these people, they try, you know, they have fooled us for so long that they're so powerful. They're just weak people. They're just weak people that just hide behind whatever it is that props them up in that position. They're worse than the people singing songs these days. It's absolutely incredible. Crumbles like a little bitch. And what is he even promoting? Nobody wants to read your stupid fucking book, dude. What is the name of this book? Let me see here.
Island! What did you and your wife do on Epstein's Island?
The 10 big anti-Israel lies. You know, if anybody would read that, it would be them. It's those people literally what they do is they preach to the choir. That's their number one tactic. Whether it be the fake pastors from TPUSA, you always see the video of Rob McCoy giving a sermon, but we never see the audience. You know, it's just the choir. They're preaching to the choir. These people. No normal person gives two shits about the 10 big anti-Israel lies. I mean, come on. Some lady on horseback in the mountains of Mount Shasta found a bunch of solar-powered speakers playing white noise. Is this why people are hearing like trumpet sounds in the distance?
We have a pretty wild find here.
Where is that coming from? It's like it's way over there, but it's also right here. Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. This is straight apocalyptic. Somebody is summoning something here.
What is going on at this location?
It's a little freaking creepy. Hold on.
Which goes on to find more here.
So there's this one. Noah seems unfazed by it. But then look, over here. You hear that noise? There's a mountain.
Yeah, that is just a trip, you know, and I don't know for 100%. It's got 609,000 views. Let's see what some of the comments say. What's Grok say about it? Yeah, apparently it's real. You know, hundreds of them scattered in remote clusters near Mount Shasta, playing some type of Buddhist mantra. Interesting. I don't know. I have a few deep dives to do. Thanks for going live. Catch you later. All right, sweet tea. I'll see you over at Tommy's if you're over there. Have a good day. I'm about done too, I think, here. Yeah, we heard Alexa. Yes, Erica Kirk. They're trying to convince us that this is her interacting with her daughter.
So you remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day, so you always know you're loved? See?
This is Sesame Street.
It is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby. These are from Daddy's friends.
Why don't you read this to me?
I'll read it to you. So you remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day, so you always know you're loved? See?
This is Sesame Street.
It is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby. These are from Daddy's friends.
Why don't you read this to me?
I'll read it to you.
What the fuck are we looking at right there? I mean, my God. Is that really a mother with her child? You got... I don't know, guys. This was at the airport during the earthquake.
Ya. Ya, por. Afuera que tenemos. No sale de allá. Hermano, no. Afuera es más peligroso, hermano. Por allá. Señores, al puerta 4. Por allá.
Scary stuff, man. A hospital worker has been accused of eating human remains. Not exactly sure where this is at. Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. Apparently this guy, I don't know how they found out, but they went to his house and they found like hands and body parts and shit at his house. So like a real life kind of Jeffrey Dahmer. Let me see here. Let me go to the story really quick. A Hungarian hospital worker allegedly put human remains on the menu. And police say he was the hungry customer too. Authorities in Budapest last week arrested a 30-year-old man after getting a tip he was stashing human body parts. When investigators searched his apartment, they said they found a gruesome collection that included skulls, a human hand, a full lower leg, and even a reconstructed face made from human skin. But the most stomach-churning allegation came during questioning. Police say the man admitted he was fascinated by human body parts and confessed to preparing meals from some of the remains before eating them. Cops also say they recovered bones packed inside a suitcase and a heart preserved in a jar. He's being held on suspicion of illegally using human remains. I mean, good Lord. And the dude's working at a hospital, man. That's fucking crazy. Candace Owens was right. Here's proof that suggests one of Charlie Kirk's witnesses is a crisis actor. I don't know if that's true. People try to make a comparison of this weirdo from the Charlie Kirk assassination over here on the right to Robbie Parker, which I've been talking about Robbie Parker since the day that happened, the day after Sandy Hook.
Statement looks like the family statement.
This guy, Robbie Parker, comes out. This is the day after Sandy Hook. This is the father of one of the children killed, Molly Parker. 5 years old, was killed at Sandy Hook, allegedly. And this is the dad. The most unbelievable fucking crisis actor in history.
Statement looks like the family is there, and they're getting ready to make to come to.
Why is it that Erica Kirk and Robbie Parker can smile right after a death?
Family is there, and they're getting ready to make to come to the microphone. So we'll listen in.
Okay.
This is what you call being an emotional asset. The problem is he didn't realize he was on video while he's smiling. This aired on CNN.
They're getting ready to make to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in.
Okay. So my name's Robbie Parker. My
statement looks like the family is there, and they're getting ready to make.
So yeah, it's so believable that a father whose 5-year-old daughter was gunned down by a machine gun the morning before. This is his demeanor 24 hours later.
Family is there, and they're getting ready to.
That's his demeanor right there. Are there any fathers out there? I know there's only one person listening right now, but just think about that. If you're a father, your daughter was killed 24 hours ago. You're going to be able to smile like that? I don't give a fuck who you're laying eyes on in the crowd. It could be fucking Elvis Presley. This is how you're going to behave 24 hours. I don't fucking think so, bro. It's not going to happen. You're not smiling 24 hours after your daughter was killed. You're just not.
To make to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in.
Okay. So my name's Robbie Parker.
And he goes on to say that my daughter was killed yesterday. Just fucking crazy town. All right, guys, that's all the videos I have for today. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Don't be fooled out there. Don't be fooled. Hope everybody has a great day. And I'll see you maybe over at the social club. And talk to y'all soon. Thanks for hanging out.